Hi friends, my name is Megan and welcome to episode 113 of a Naughty Mess Knitting podcast. For anyone who's new here, hi, welcome to my little corner of the internet. For anyone returning, welcome back. I hope that you can grab a fun project to work on while we're chatting and, I don't know, a cozy beverage. It's fall. Feels like fall over here at least. If you're new, I live in the Pacific Northwest with my husband Mike, our daughter Theo, our dog Winter, and my mom Cindy, and I just come on here to chat about fibery things. Yarn I'm spinning, things I'm knitting, things I crochet, right now a needlepoint, you know, just whatever, all of the fun things. This week is a fun episode because I've got two finished objects, the one I'm wearing and another one. Project updates, which there are quite a lot. Though I'm gonna skip two. I'll just tell you what they are. And books and stats. It is the first episode of Q4, and so we will go over Q3 stats. I did look at those last night, and I think I'm in a good place to talk about them, so we'll see how it goes. You never know what's going to come out of my mouth, so let's see. I'm going to start with what I'm wearing, because that's how we normally start, and I will stand up in a second, but this is the Scorned Sweater Test by Claire Jackson. It is Who's Perfectly Knotted on Instagram, and I am super early for this test, but I just once I got started on the sleeves, I could not put it down. I don't know where it was last week. I had just started the sleeves. I had a couple of repeats done on each of them, and I had a good bit of the body done. I did do four, I think I added 4 stripes to the body, and then the hem, and that was it. And then the sleeves I finished, but it's stripes and they're small circumference, and it was fun, and so here we are. I had a great time. I had a great time knitting this. Let's stand up so we can look at it. Then I'll talk you through measurements. Then we can talk about ratings. And so that'll be the order. It's so cute. I love it. It is, I mean, it's giving me very sibling sweaters vibe from Laura Penrose, except for it's totally different upper construction. But just having these 8 stripes or 8 row stripes is very reminiscent. She's not the only one that's done that. Same with stripe hype. I mean, you could do 2 colors for stripe hype, but I love the fit on this a lot. I love the way that the shoulder construction looks with the stripes. Is to me, that's chef's kiss. It's so good. So yeah, here we are. I love it. I did block this. It's got a tiny bit you can see it. I don't know if you can see. It looks a little bit open across the chest right now. I think it'll bounce back a little bit, but I did block it slightly more open than I needed inch-wise, but you know, when it was wet, I did measure, but I did not pin this down, so I think it'll bounce back a little bit, but I'm just an inch over or I'm just an inch over on the chest. Everything else was pretty good measurement-wise, all the lengths and stuff. So, anywho, that's where we are. I stinking love it. I think it's so fun. The shoulders are so fun. Take a peek at that. I mean, I know you guys have seen this on the needles a bunch, but that is pretty dang cute live. I also think this size was the right size for me for what I wanted look-wise. It's got a little bit of ease at the upper bust, but where my shoulders are sitting and then where the set-in sleeve line is on both the front and the back is kind of perfect. It's not pulling in so it's too close to my armpit, but it's also not a drop at all, right? It's not falling down my shoulders. My Alchemy, same construction, slightly different, you know, all the things plus the V, that is more relaxed fitting. But I think with the stripes, and even if you did this with a fade, you don't want that to be off your shoulder. You want that to be a set-in sleeve. I love it. Okay, I guess I'll show you the back. And what else do we have to talk about? I did end everything on the dark purple just because of where measurements were, not because of anything else. I would have happily ended with whichever color was the right length for it, everything. And so I did make the sleeves, I think 2 pattern. Yeah, because I did my last decreases in the light purple here. So yeah. Okay, I love it. I'm gonna sit down. Okay, I love it. I think it's so great. I also think that I didn't make any modifications. I was writing my notes up yesterday. I need to take pictures and I'll send in my form to Claire with like the yarns and all the things, but like I don't think I made any mods, which is not like super unusual for a test knit, but yeah, I didn't like really mod. I don't remember, you know, maybe one thing I probably added a little bit of length, but I don't remember the pattern says, but that's always like, I mean, it's a modification, but it's also like, you know, do what you want there. This is supposed to be a size 5, 46 inches. One deviation from the pattern, I guess, is that I used a 4mm needle instead of 4.5. That was just to get gauge because this is a lofty yarn. My final measurement is 47 inches, and maybe a little bit in the bust. But the full body length is 21.5 inches. The underarm to hem length is 11.5 inches. So this is like all of the perfect hits nicely around my hips. Sleeve length is 17.5 inches. The bicep is 15. And I measured across the first full stripe here. So, and that should be, you know, full measurement. And then the cuff is 8.5 ish. The ribbing is just one cuff length. I think probably actually one mod that I did make, I'll put this in my note, is that I did not do 8 rows of ribbing. I did 1 round of just knit, and then I did 8 rows of ribbing for the sleeves. And then for the hem, I thought that the sleeves, this stripe looks a little bit more shallow than like a regular stripe. So I wish I had added 1 more row of ribbing. I'm not going to go back. It was looking fine on the needles. It was hard to tell. I'm not going to go back and change anything, but I did add 9 rows of ribbon for the hem. So that looks really close to a full stripe. So anyway, small modification, but I will put that in my notes. Okay, and that's it. So yarn, I used like almost exactly the same amount of yarn for both colors, which is kind of wild. And I don't know how I did that. Well, I know how I did that because even though I ended on the dark purple has more yardage than the light purple. So as a reminder, these are both Little Fiber Co. Woolen DKs. The light purple is her merino woolen DK, which she doesn't have anymore, but that one is 270 yards for 100 grams. The other one is her woolen Corriedale DK, which is what she carries right now. This is from the Cinderella collection. It's called Mack, my smelling salts, and it is 328 yards for 100 grams, but knits up like a DK. So that's like a sport weight at a DK gauge. Or sport yardage DK yarn, whatever. So I just had more yardage for that. So that is how I got away with doing all of the cuffs and everything with the same weight of yarn. Okay, so I used 2 full skeins. I used 203 and 204 grams for each of them. I do have leftovers. Like these are always, you know, over yardage skeins. So or like overweight skeins, right? Like 10 grams each. So I still have, how much of this one? I still have 20 grams of this and a full skein of the other one because I dipped into it just the tiniest bit. So those ones must have been like really close to exactly 100 grams each. Oh, anyway, so the yardages for the dark purple, I used 669, let's round up, yards. And then for the light purple, I used 531. My overall yardage, I think, is pretty accurate to the pattern. So just over 1200, 1220. And that's what I would expect. Claire's usually pretty good at yardage gauges. I'll give those numbers in. We'll make sure everything you know, pattern when it comes out is accurate. But this is all going to be in my Ravelry page so you can look at it, and I love it. I think it's great. Okay, I guess that's my rating. My rating is I love it. I definitely want to make another one. I think the fit is really great. I think this would be really fun as a fade. I don't have any yarns right now to fade, or with like different kind of stripes with like minis, because this has nothing is really dictated within the increases or anything to use the stripes in a certain way. It's really like you could do anything you want with the yarn. So this would be fun to use up minis. It would be fun to have like small stripes, or doing like, I like the stripes that are like highlighted, you know, like if these are all 8 rows, but you do 2 and then 4 and then 8, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? 2, 4, 2, and then 8 of your main color, and 2, 4, 2. Anyway, it would be a great way to use up some DK extras I might have laying around, because I'm not going to do another sea glass right now. Anywho, so I really love it. I mean, I liked the construction. I liked the make. I also just really like how it fits in the end product. And yeah, it's great. Yarns. These are soft woolen DK yarns. They are still woolen DK yarns. They're teeny bit itchy. Itchy's not the right word. You can feel it. You can just feel the yarniness of them more than like a superwash DK. But I like the structure of it a lot, and I think that these would both be really great, especially the Corriedale. Like, that's what she has now anyway. The Corriedale would be amazing for cables because you get more yardage, and cables suck so much yarn. You could really get yourself like a DK weight cable guard. Like, so let's say you want to make a sari pattern, you could do that with this yarn. And also she has some really amazing tonals in every collection. You know, Cinderella's gone, but like if you want to catch it from her later, I would suggest doing it. I think it's a worthwhile yarn to get. Okay, let's move on to my next finished object, which shouldn't be a surprise because I told you I was going to finish this last week, and also I, you know, paused on finishing to show you how the construction went, and here she is. Isn't she so cute? This is our hippo friend. Maybe Theo will give her a name. This will be for Theo, my daughter's birthday. She turns 3 at the end of October, and so finally I'm giving her her own hippo. There's a tail. Let's just admire her. Okay. You can, and I'll play with this a little bit more. You can right now see a little bit of the stuffing just because of, you know, getting those last pieces in. But here is what we looked at last week, like all the way to, gosh, I think I maybe didn't have these guys done, these 3 across the top here. So like the shoulders weren't done. But I had done the rest of the bum is where you start. You start with the back legs and the bum, and then you just join, and you join pretty evenly until you get to the front. And then you do, she does this actually kind of in a crazy way. Every time I do it, I'm like, what is going on? Because you join sort of the top of your head, your eyes, and then you go around and start shaping the face and then fill in like a kind of around this circle. But yeah, I tried to keep, you know, most of the colors like kind of evenly distributed. She's got these like adorable little ears. These are fun. These are the only ones that you do a different round 5 on, which is the black color. You kind of like make them so that they do curl up a little bit, and then you actually crochet them in half. So this is a full flower that is like crocheted in half. So it's a half circle before you add it to the face. But they're so cute. Okay. And then she's got little, she's got little eyes here. Let's talk a little about the eye shaping. So you stuff it without eyes in. Full head, hippo head. Next time I'm going to make a note for myself that I want to make these 2 with the 3 ring. Like I already knew which colors I wanted, and I want to make them with the 3 ring join because the magic loop was too tight on these to get these. I was a real struggle. I was like sweating trying to push these guys through. So, but essentially it's already stuffed. You push them through, I have the kind, I thread them through. So I have the kind of safety eyes just for the hippos really that have a hole in the bottom. So you can thread the string through. So the string is tied between the two of these. So these can't come out apart. You'd have to like break the string. It would be pretty hard to do. It would be hard to just pull them out of this yarn at this point too. But as you're, right before you add the eyes, you're also stitching to make the eyes a little bit sunken. So it has this like nice facial feature and they're not just sticking really far out or whatever. I think it's a really nice touch. She gives you a lot of instructions on how to do that too. So that's fine. Here's our little hippo friend. She's so cute. Oh, here's her tail. I actually don't think the tail is in the instructions. I must have just been somebody's project that I saw it on that I really wanted to give it a tail. And so I've given all my hippos tails now, or at least the last 2 or 3 of them. So I decided to do 1 strand of each. Sometimes I'll just pick 3 colors and do 2 strands of that. Anyway, I had 9 colors, so I did 1 strand of everything. And then I just tied off with the black and I cut it. I could make this a little shorter maybe, but I'm going to leave it as it is. She's so cute. I think she's great. I really like her. To be named birthday present. Oh, I did not say this at the very beginning, but as we talked about before, this is Heidi Bear's from Heidi Bear Creations. This is Happypotamus, the Happy Hippo, and it is made with, I have all these colors are Maehrer Baby Bravo, which is a fingering weight acrylic yarn that I got many years ago. I mean, I made the first one when my niece was turning 1, and, or like just after she was born, I think I got the yarn, and she's now going to be 9, which is crazy. So a long time ago, I have made 3 hippos with just these yarns, which is fun. So yeah, anyway. Oh, and the black is Hobby Lobby something pill DK or no pill DK, but it's a fingering weight yardage. And it's so cute. I used a 2mm hook and I love how it turned out. I'm really excited to give it to Theodore. She has not seen this, and not especially since it's been stuffed. I've stuck it in my my office here closet, and so she's does not go in there. So that is that. I mean, we can rate the project. Obviously, I've already made this. This is like the 4th or 5th time I've made this. So A+ would make again, even if I, you know, was so moved. And the yarn is fine, right? I've already used that yarn a bunch of times. I don't, you know, use acrylic for like a sweater, but I think it's great for this project, and you could use it with any fingering weight yarn though. The one note on that is I've never weighed it before, like pre-stuffing, but I did weigh it. Obviously I didn't have the last nose round done because that's, you know, you have to stuff it and then you like stitch it when it's stuffed. I think it's like 116 grams of yarn. So it's like, you know, 400 and what did I put here? 468-ish. These are 2 different yardages, but let's call it 468 yards of fingering weight yarn. And that's pretty good. Like, I mean, people definitely do make these with like other scraps, and you could just use a lot of scraps and you don't need that much yarn for each of them, like at all. So fun. Okay, before we go into knit projects, I want to show you the update on my Feral Notions house, embroidery house. I did make a really good progress this week, and then I just need to take a break like through the weekend because I have good progress on this. And yeah, I want to get this done by Theo's birthday, but I don't have to stick to the this is a cowl hosted by Feral Notions. I don't need to stick to the schedule necessarily, but here's what I've done. Only piece I've fully done is the floor. This is the bottom of the thing. So, and I think the stitch pattern is just like really fun. And this is like really pretty. This grass color I have is really pretty. That is, I have no idea where that came from, scrap. That was just in my bin. I'm nearly done the back panel. The only thing that's missing on like the basic stitching is I just need to pick a color for the cat. There's 2 cats, one in the back window, one in the front window. And then, you know, this is how much I have done on the front, which is a good amount. I've just been doing this chaos style because like sometimes I'm like, okay, I don't want to focus that hard. So I'm doing something different. So this is the roof, panel 1. So I've got to make another one of these and finish it. I also think this is a really fun stitch pattern. It just looks so cute. It's like so crisp and clean. This I think is wool, but it is just like maybe it's like a Patons or something. Like it's in a ball that looks like a commercial ball from like Joanne or something, but it feels like wool. It doesn't feel like acrylic. So there's that. So I've got to make 1.5 more of these, finish this, plus details. So finish this and details. What I think I've decided is I want to just do all the big stuff and then go back and do the details. Like this gets like a trellis with flowers and there's flowers on the bottom. This will also get, once I do the door, there'll be like some hinges and then some flowers on the bottom too. Like that's not a ton of finishing anyway, but I don't want to just like, it's like very small amounts of yarn I need for just a few stitches that I just don't want to get out and have out. Cause this all this acrylic stuff is like stored in bins in my, office closet. So, and then I have 2 sides of the house and those are tall and skinny. So, I mean, it'll be a lot of stitches, but a little less than this. And so I'm just going to keep going and I'm really loving it. So hopefully next week I'll have some of those pieces, like basic stitches done. And that's all I need done for this coming week. I'm going to also talk to my mom about sewing my lining. That would be really helpful to me. Alrighty, the next thing to show you is a quick update. And that is going to be my crosshatch hacked. I have added another 3-ish inches, slowly but surely chipping away at this. 2 seconds of details. This is inspired by the crosshatch pattern by Jared Flood, who's like the designer for Brooklyn Tweed. No, it's not the pattern. No, I didn't buy the pattern. No, I'm mostly not doing the pattern anyway, just the look of the pattern. I'm using Knitting for Olive, Heavy Merino, and Ulysses, and I love the squish. I just have really fun sweaters on the needles. So I would really love to get that done in the next, not too long from now. I said by Thanksgiving, but I'm maybe a little bit faster. TBD. Again, I have fun sweaters on the needle, so I'm not gonna like say I'm gonna do a whole ball of yarn on that in a week or something. Like that's not gonna happen. Okay, I'd love to share my really great progress on this. Last week, if you'll remember, I was started on, I had just joined the fronts together, like 2 rows really. So I did the whole, I mean, go me. I did all of the front and I did connect them, by about 5 rows last night. Yeah, 5 rows. So it's looking fab. It's on sort of small needles. They're not that small, but, there we go. That's a little bit better. So probably I will continue for a while and then I will go in and do the collar and the sleeves, but probably not until I've got like 5 or 6 inches of the body. I don't know when that'll be. Maybe this will be a sort of slow progress desk knit now, but the stripes are so fun. Anything striped is fun. It just gives your brain something a little bit different, texture wise, whatever, each time you're working on it, which is nice. And also 4 rows is really short, so it doesn't feel like those stripes take any time at all. You're like, oh, I'm done. Oh, I'm in the next one. So join that together, feel good about that. And that is, sorry, the Elton Pullover by Joji Locatelli. I am knitting size 4 on that. It's still 56 inches. I mean, that's not like no stitches, but this is pretty open gauge. Recommended ease is 16 inches. I'm doing a little less than that. I'm using the recommended needles, which is 3.5 millimeters. And this is Lamb Good Fibers and classic fingering and mohair, and the color, I'm going to need a flock of this. I need to wind my other 2 skeins. I've got a lot of yarn left. Like, I'm going to truly be fine. Fine on yarn usage. Okay. The next thing I'm going to skip is the oversized seasons cardigan. I did work on it, but I only added like 10 rows. So I added like 5 raglan stitches. I added like 5 raglan increases. So it looks a little bit longer. It's not enough for me to bring down. Honestly, I was looking at it last night. I was like, this is the whole basket I have to bring down, and it doesn't look that different. So we are not going to talk about it this week. I'm hoping to get more progress on that. Both of my cardigans are the ones I didn't bring down. So, but I am hoping to get this guy done this week. Maybe like late in the weekend, middle of next week. That would be nice. This is the Henri the orangutan from the Cynthia Valet book Motion Friends. He's really cute. I honestly didn't add very much. I mean, I did his arms, and that's probably the hardest, most annoying part of the project. I think every one of these little dudes, little guys that you make are gonna have one annoying part of the project. Oh, that's funny too. I did the second hand last night, and I clearly was more stressed whichever day. They don't look very different in length, but one of them is bigger than the other. A slightly off gauge here. I want to say I did this one. I must have been more stressed last night because I did this one yesterday. Well, whatever. So I picked up the body stitches, and it's not actually that many body rows. Like, he's not super, super tall. So I am going to get into his body and then shaping, and then I think it's even called his butt shaping, but anyway, it's like bottom shaping, to give him his size, and then he'll get little legs. The little legs are like little socks, so I'm not very worried about that. That'll be okay. This part, doing the hands, let's look at the fingers. Okay. You knit a sleeve, essentially, not big deal, not a lot of decreases, and then you got to go in and make this hand. You switch back to just your one, just your lighter colored yarn, and then you do essentially like, they're like 4-stitch I-cords. I mean, they're 4-stitch rows. Someone did say, who's made a lot of these patterns, she was like, you could do a 4-stitch I-cord, which I could have, but this was not bad. It was annoying, like needle management, but none of them are very long rows. So like, you just deal with it for a little bit. But you just have one ball of yarn or one yarn connected. You measure out what you need, and then you go through the tip of the finger to bring it back down, which was like really genius. Obviously really genius. Can you imagine having all these ends in the hand? That'd be crazy. And then one of the things I really like is for these detail sections too, Cynthia tells you in the instructions, just tie it off, tie it in a knot. That's it. That's all you have to do for it. It's so far down there. No one's ever going to get to it. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how he keeps progressing. I would like to finish him this week. That would be ideal. I wanted to get a little bit more body done, but again, other things recall my name. But I do have to get socks on the needles, and I don't want to have 2 small fingering weight projects at once. So he's got to get done first, and so he's got to get done soon. But he's looking really cute, and I enjoy him. So Henri the orangutan. I am using 2mm and 2.25mm needles for him, and he is made out of Cascade 220 fingering and Knitting for Olive mohair. And you can tell, like, Knitting for Olive is just a tiny bit darker, so it's giving this like really nice like sheen, like darker halo. And then the pink for his hands and face and for his feet is Pearl Soho Linen Quill. I can't remember which pink, but maybe Peony Pink from my Alpine Bloom. So I thought that was like it was like the tannest pinkish non-variegated yarn I could find that I thought like fit the bill for this. So yeah, I'm happy with how it's coming along though. Okay, the next project I have is one that I feel uncertain about. So maybe you guys could give me a little bit of feedback here. This is maybe just because I modified this, or it's the kid size or something. But I told you for the Flax DK, this is the Flax DK by Tin Can Knits, and I modified this for Theo. This is the 4 to 6 year size. She is turning 3, but she is very tall and wearing like mostly 4T clothes. So I thought 4 to 6 would be the good size to do. The collar will bring it in, hopefully enough, because it's a little bit boat necky on her right now. But again, she doesn't really care. She just likes to wear things that I make her. But the way that the raglan shaping went for this is that you did just every other row raglan shaping, and then you just knit like more than an inch, like almost, it's like it's like around an inch and a half, maybe a little bit more, of just plain knitting afterwards. Because this is supposed to be a knit front and back, I don't think you would see it as much on the raglan line. There's not as much of a raglan line on this, but I did like a traditional raglan line, and so you can see where it just ends, and it sort of gives this like corner, like a weird bloop at the end there. I was thinking about ripping back and not all the way, just the like raglan line row, and ripping back and knitting and then letting go of one, so like kind of like a slip, knit, slip, knit, slip pattern to keep this line looking. But then I'm gonna have a bunch of, you know, not knit stitches next to it, and I'm gonna have to like work that ease back in. I don't think that's that big of a deal. I might just do it on 2 of them, see how I think it looks, just to keep that line there. This yarn is like just busy enough that I don't think it matters that much. I did put it on Theo and it looks okay. It sits okay. But what I'm concerned about, and it does kind of do this, is like where the line is, then there's kind of like extra fabric. So like her armpits got an extra fabric, but it's also a raglan with ease on her. So like, I think you're going to have that a little bit anyway. Debating on what I want to do, but I think mostly at this point, I'm not going to go back. This is her, like, kid knits are never going to be the best fitting thing ever. Also, her body changes every day. She's rapidly growing, so it's fine. I do want to get this done for her birthday as well, so we'll have 3 big birthday presents for her, and so I just need to get moving. This is now the desk knit, but I did take the needles from yesterday, so I gotta return those. And just have this as like mindless, not a lot of stitches, add a bunch of inches this week, and hopefully this week I'll add the collar like over the weekend sometime, and then do a bunch of body and maybe even start the sleeves, so I can just tear through it. Though we have knit weekend in 2 weekends, which is everyone's favorite time of year. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I have a knitting group here in the Seattle area, and we are like good friends that knit together. I don't want to make this seem like this is a public knitting group that we go on a big trip. No, there are 9 of us. We are good friends that like we visit each other's houses. And so that kind of group, friends that knit together. But we have got like an annual fall knitting trip, which is the greatest time. And so we this year are doing a little bit up north, an island, so we'll have some nice beach shots too. So I can't wait to get some pictures. I'll get some beach pictures of this one. By beach, I mean like stormy seas behind us, and that's quite all right. So I want to get, before that, I maybe want to get like one other thing done that I can take pictures. That one thing is actually my new cast on, because I don't think I'll get, I won't probably progress fast enough on anything else. I mean, obviously it'd be nice if I got like the Elton done, but that is wishful thinking, and I don't need that done right now. That's on just my generic list of projects I want to get done, because I have yarn picked out for it, and that is my get projects done from flock yarn. Actually, this is also flock yarn. Okay, I'm skipping the Mila cardigan too. I did add to it. I added like an entire back repeat and a little bit, but it's now a slightly bigger triangle. That's all you have to see. Not enough until I get to like the back straight shaping. I think I just won't share it, so you guys can see that then. I have a new cast on though, and I gave quite a lot of attention to it in the last day and a half, 2 days, and I am really ready to. This is the one that, like, if I could get this done for knit weekend, I would be super ecstatic. I do have a pretty tight turnaround time for this. I think it's supposed to be done in early November, so I need to get it done anyway. And I'm loving it. I love working with this yarn. It's really nice. Okay. So let's talk about it. This is not a surprise because I told you I was going to cast on Test Knit for Woolfolk. It's a new designer. I think, you know, new to them, but I think this is maybe her first pattern ever. Anyway, her name is Jesika. I don't know if I have her last name anywhere, and it's not listed on the pattern, so we're just going to call her Jesika. And her handle is Knitwork. And so I'll put that up here. But anyway, this is a gorgeous, really, really gorgeous design. I'll put the picture up here now because I don't think I've shared what this is before. So this is not the only one of these that's kind of out there right now, because I feel like I've seen a couple with these like structural, like several like ribbed raglan lines, right? So this is a really like cute fit, and there's like a little bit of specialness in the collar area, so we'll go over that now because I'm already done that. But I did cast this on the other day, and it does have like quite a wide band, which is not necessarily like something I'm always drawn to, but I really liked some of the details in this. And I am almost done short rows. It's got deep short rows. I actually really like this because I think that you'll see like how it looks on the picture, right? It sits with like pulls the collar down, so you do have a lot of depth in the back for this front row shaping. So or front neck shaping. So here I'm on tiny needles too. Like I got to the point during these short rows, I'm like, okay, these needles are too small and I need to get rid of them. But it's so hard to change needle, like the cord, while you're doing short rows, because I'm not ever completing the whole round, right? So it's just, I'm going to wait because I'm nearly done. I think I have 4 more rows or 3 more rows even. So you do like several inches of a regular 1x1 rib. And then you go and add these really fun, look at those, these really fun increases right inside of that ribbing. So it has like, it just like helps with how it's splayed, right? And you're not adding new ribs, you're just giving space to those two. There are a couple on the back as well. And then you do more, you do like not double, but you do quite a bit more. Then you do start your short row shaping, and I mean like this is all short row shaping, so it feels like quite a lot. This is a rather dense gauge. I achieved it with the suggested needle size. There were a lot of people in the test chat that seemed like they were struggling, but I have 4mm needles and I'm doing okay. The ribbing was with 3.5, and that also looks okay gauge wise. And yeah, I'm really liking it. So this would be pretty crazy to get this whole sweater done in 2 weeks, but it's possible. If I just give it a lot of attention, it's definitely possible. And because once I like the raglan, once I just am done the short row shaping, it's in the round and it'll go really fast. So I'm excited to just get it in the round. This is my far yarn though. This was gifted to me from Woolfolk for this test. I get to keep it, the finished object. It's a chainette style yarn. It is 100% Ovis 21 merino. It is really soft. It's like 140 something yards per 50 grams. So it's got a lot of yardage, but it feels like kind of like lofty. It's the chainette. There's more air inside of this for the plies. It feels incredibly soft. It's mostly been fine to knit with. I will say some of the purl stitches going back, really the purl increases sometimes. It's the left one. This is the one I struggle with. I mean, there's always one harder one, right? But the left purl increase, I've just noticed like once or twice where I've not caught the whole yarn, and it's not like a single ply that pulls off. It just gets like floofy, and I'm like, okay, I gotta like pull it, resituate it to get those plies back just because it's so soft. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have a really nice definition here in that ribbed raglan line. It's just it's so pretty. I'm really excited to get this done. My goal for next week, if I do want to get this done in 2 weeks, if I did actually, I mean, honestly, I'm not going to be heartbroken if I don't have it done, but it would be nice to get it done like 2 weeks early, which means that I also would be able to take pictures in a pretty locale. That's really it. It's like I would be able to just take yard pictures otherwise. But if I want to get it done in 2 weeks, what I need to do is I need to essentially knit like 3 skeins of yarn. of a lot of skeins of yarn of this. But I need to join in the round after splitting for sleeves, and I need to get like 5 to 6 inches of body and maybe a sleeve started. So like a lot of this. The raglan is the hardest part. If the raglan defeats me this weekend and I just don't even get past that, or I just finish it, then it's not going to be done. But that's okay. Not a big deal. Again, like I said, it's just, this is a lofty goal. I'll get 2 weeks after to finish. But that means like maybe Theo's flax I put on hold, or just keep it as my desk knit and have that a little bit slower and just not finish it until the end of the month, which is also fine. Like it just has to be done by the end of the month. So, and I'm not going to take pictures of that one on knit weekend because she's not coming. Okay. Sizes though. I am making a size 4. This is less ease than is recommended, but I talked to the designer via email when I was picking my size for the test knit. She was in tech editing when we were, you know, going through size picking. And so she had made some adjustments, and so we chatted through what I wanted to do, and I decided to go with less ease. Partly because I don't like a raglan with a lot of ease. This looks really cute on her or the model, whoever it is, with the amount of ease that's in there, which is, I think that this is supposed to have somewhere around like 8 to 10 inches of ease. I chose 2. No, it's more like, it's almost 4 inches of ease. So about half of what's recommended. Personal choice. Also, they were fine with it, so it's cool. I am making a size 49.75 inches. It's size 4 for this pattern. Everything else on this also is like a little bit drapey. The sleeves are pretty big, and also the cuffs are quite wide. So like all in all, I think I'm gonna like the fit of this slightly smaller garment. But I mean, if you're into the bigger raglan, this is like very Scandi style, and so I think that you'll like the pattern as written with the ease as written. So, and don't worry, I have a little flare in the collar, but again, this is like it's wide. It's going to block. It's going to need to be blocked out a little bit. So, I'm not worried about it. And what else do you need to know? I think that's it. This is color 40 for the far yarn, and it's really beautiful. It's like a lavender tinged gray. I did start a couple weeks late on that, and I'm actually glad I did, because in the first week there were like a couple of short row edits that people found. That's the most complicated part of this pattern. Otherwise it's a raglan, so you just raglan until you split for sleeves, and like that should not rock anybody's world in the construction of things, numbers wise. And it was just like little things, like just you know, a couple typos and stuff. So she got updated patterns out really quickly, which is also incredible because Jesika just had a baby like 2 weeks ago. Like the day the day after she released the pattern, or the day before she released the pattern, she like had a baby. So released it to us. So that's pretty crazy. Anyway, yeah, so that's all I have for the race sweater. And then I did not cast in my fluff ball, but I did do a gauge swatch, and I'm going to be good with the teal yarn. I'm going to do the teal yarn. It is not as dark as I wanted to be with that like dark teal, bulky color, because the Lodge color is quite light, and it has a lot of coverage, but I'm gonna like it. So, and I like that color. So I'd like to use that yarn, and that's the end of that. So I am gonna cast that one on. I have a lot of time. I don't think it's even due until December or like the end of November. So I will maybe cast it on and just do a little bit like the collar, but maybe I'll also just wait a week and then do that then, because this is for Claire, and I know I have time for it. So anyway, another test knit. Okay, let's go over the book snake / books I read this week, since we're all caught up. It's so exciting. Okay, I have my marker here. That was the end of that kind of not great series that I read last week. And I was in the middle of a couple of books, so I got four completed this week. Here they are. This one here is Accomplice to the Villain. I think it's pretty good match for that background color. Just like kind of a medium blue. Accomplice to the Villain is number 3 of the Assistant to the Villain series. The first one, that's the name of the first one. It's Assistant, Apprentice, Accomplice. Anyway, so this one is the more recent one, I think, by Nicole Maehrer. And I don't know. I don't think I like the narrator. It's maybe also like it's the tone that the books are written in that the narrator's reading. So like maybe I just don't like love that for the audio. Anyway, it's like kind of a tongue-in-cheek fantasy, light on the romance type of, you know, like fantasy comedy type book. I don't know how to explain it. Like a way less smutty version of like The Time That I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon or whatever those books are by Kimberly Lemming. So right, similar kind of vibe. Anyway, this, I thought it was the third. I thought this was the last one, but they left on another cliffhanger, I think. And like not a lot happened in this book, honestly. It's kind of just like them figuring out the next clue in the prophecy that is to save the kingdom. So the villain is maybe going to be the, like save the kingdom, and the, his accomplice was his assistant, and, someone that he's like trying not to get too close to. It's a funny cast of characters, but I didn't like love the audiobook, so I got through it. I don't know if I'm going to finish it, honestly. It's just not like that compelling of a story, so might put this on my don't need to continue series. One I needed to continue, and as next here is this really pretty color combo. This is my hand spun in the back. This was like a bamboo blend, I think. I might have used this one other time. Anyway, it's got like these pretty blues and pinks in it, which is like the sky of this cover here, which is Unravel Me, which is the third of the Becka Mack Playing for Keeps series. This is a hockey in Canada romance. This is the non-Canadian in the group. This is about Adam. I knew baby Adam needed a story, and it was so good. It was so good. It was like so sweet. They were so sure of each other early, even though both of them have like a lot of anxiety around like relationships in life. And I thought that they like, it was both addressed, and they also like balanced each other really nicely, and like were each other's cheerleaders in like a big way. And it was just, it was so good. It was so good. It's all the things I wanted for Adam, and so I feel great about it. His love interest in this is Rosie, and Rosie has like just a lot she's dealt with in life, and she's in vet school. So I just like love that she's got like a really cool career, and she like loves dogs. There's a lot of dogs in this. Adam loves his dog, so it's like a big thing. All things good. Could see the potential conflict like from a mile away, and also knew that it was not going to be a big deal because they were rock solid. So big fan. And I think if you need like a feel good spicy romance, but that's not like just dumb miscommunication tropes or other things, like you gotta read these. They're just so good. Anyway, okay, the next book I read was Broken Bonds. This is the first of the Bonds That Tie series by Bree. This one has been suggested to me on Book Talk like 900 million times, so I finally put it on my TBR, like, or my requests from the library, and I got it this week. I'm waiting for the second one. I was really hoping the second one would be available. I was immediately like, must know. It was a great cliffhanger they left you on. It was great. So this, it's funny because like this like cover is maybe also kind of like what put me off for a little. I was like, I don't really want to read that. That looks like some weird like Halloween romance. No, this skeleton thing has nothing to do with anything. This is about Oleander, who has many secrets, is an orphan, who has been living on the streets and gets captured in the very beginning. This all happens in the very beginning, and forced to enroll in college, which like she wants to go to college. This is not like a thing, but she's been on the run from her bonds. This is a society where people that are gifted are often bonded to more than one person. And there's like a central person to the bond. So like everybody's just spoke out from there. I don't know if you're in like a 3-person bond, there's a center person and the 2 people. If everybody ever gets together, I don't know. It's like, this is unclear. But she's bonded to 5 powerful men, and they think that she doesn't have a power, which, like, you know, from the beginning she does, but she doesn't want to tell them what it is. And they cause all kinds of havoc in her life. And when she gets captured, like, she gets given back to them like she's property. To make the bond happen, they have to be intimate, and she is resisting that because they're of her secrets, which you kind of uncover some of that. You don't know the full extent even in this book of what she can do, but like the little bit you learn is wicked cool. She is like totally like, she's snarky, but she's a strong female, but also like this bond is a thing that is like hormonal, but also like in her soul that she can like feel the connection. So she's like very conflicted. And they're not nice to her. The Jews are not nice to her, except for one of them. And I think this is one that you'll tell, like, it's kind of like a bully romance, but like, I don't know if it really is. Anyway, it's a why choose, obviously. There's really nothing that happened in this one though. I've heard this just like, it gets spicy after this. So this one wasn't, but I was totally sucked in more than I thought that I would be for this series. So I'm excited to continue it. If that dark why choose romance is like in your list of things you'd like to read, then I would say give this one a go as of the first book. And okay, and then I got this one also from the library. This was suggested to me also as like a dark romance, but I kind of forgot that. And like the cover is dark, but it's like a dude, you know, right? So this is how I picked the color though is that this is a little bit like the words is like I have this white and teal yarn I used for it, and then the background is actually, if you look closely at the picture or like on full brightness on my screen, I can see that it's like kind of a dark blue color. So this is a dark blue single I have. So I actually think this is a pretty good match color wise. But this one is about okay, this is by C.R. Jane, first book by C.R. Jane. Okay, so this one is about a hockey player they live in like Houston or Dallas. They live in somewhere in Texas. And another girl who's like an orphan, who is just trying to make her way in the world. You get a little bit of her backstory to start with. You get a little bit of his through just like him telling stories. He, is very like, there should be, I don't know if there should be a lot of trigger warnings for this one. This is definitely a dark romance. There's like a little bit of light stalking. There's some other things. Anyway, he becomes obsessed with her pretty quickly. It is very insta-lovey on his part, a little bit hers, like she's attracted to him, but she wants to maintain her independence and he does not want her to. And it is toxic. I mean, this is a toxic relationship. This is not anything anybody should model anything after. But I do love to read a dark romance, and you know that that's going to be part of it. It's like, this is unhealthy. Otherwise, it would just be a romance, right? Unhealthy behaviors. It took a little bit of a turn around 85% that I was like, oh, what? Not entirely unexpected because these tendencies, but honestly, I was like, I still want them to end up together. So like, maybe that's telling about me, but I don't know. It's just the situation. It's just the read. It was fun. I read it really fast. This one, trigger warnings though. Like, I'm not going to just tell you like, this is not everybody should read this. I think if you're into dark romance and those trigger warnings, if you want to ask me what they are, because I don't think they're in the beginning of the book, I can let you know what they are, but they should exist because but I still read it really fast, and I might read others in the series. I just like, I wonder what they're going to be like. No idea. Yeah. So continuing on the book reading journey, I think we're at book number 169. That was the end of quarter. I didn't finish anything. Oh, I did finish, that last one. Sorry, this is the fucking wrong number. The whole thing starts because he like texts the wrong number. Okay, right? That's what the title is about. But this one I finished yesterday on the 1st. So that is the only one. Otherwise, we're what, 168 then for the quarter, which is pretty fun. Okay, friends, it's that time of the quarter, aka stats time. So let's do some updates here. What is our count on certain things? I'm gonna start with one of your favorite things and mine, which is my knitwear tracker. So I track every day what knits I have worn and am wearing, whatever. And I got some fun numbers to share. So in this past quarter, so in in July, August, September, I wore 82 knits. Some of these days are a cardigan and a tank top, but like 82 different occasions, I guess, or like outfits. That's less than, it was 91, 94, and then 82, which makes sense. And this is really the weekends of summer. I'm not well, I feel like I did grab like my traveler hoodie for stuff, and we had like a really slow roll into summer, but I think like a lot of August and even the beginning of September, I was not grabbing knit things as often on the weekend to wear. And this does not count, like I don't track socks or shawls or hats or anything, which I wasn't wearing those either, but I did wear my t-shirts to work most of the time. So again, work is still the big category of where I wear, but I wore 28 knits in July, so most of the month, only 23 in August, so that's the short one, and 31 in September, so it's September every day, plus an outfit change in there. But okay, let's go through just front runners, or actually, you know, like here's a little interesting number. I guess I could pop these. No, I'll just go over these numbers without like putting charts up. But not surprisingly, my sweater wears in the whole quarter was 13. It's not a lot. My V-neck wears and I do this crew neck collars and then V-necks, which just because I'm running out of space on my tracker thing, I'm gonna have to do a different kind of category next year because I just have a lot more crew necks than I do V-necks. But I wore 5 V-necks in the quarter. I wore 6 cardigans, so not a lot of cardigan wear. Normally I have a bigger spike of cardigans, but I think that I just have more t-shirts this year that I was happy to wear, so that's probably why the choice. And then t-shirts, obviously that's the big one. So I wore 64 t-shirt wears. I mean, I don't have 64 t-shirts, but you know, 64 times I grabbed a t-shirt, which is great. My traveler is now number 1 in my pullover category by quite a lot. The next bottom 3 that's like 11 wears this year. And then the Wood Anemone, DRK Everyday, and Alchemy are all tied at 7. My V-neck wears, Northwood's V-neck is winner. That's not surprising at all. Also with 11 wears, and that is my Boucle Helm's Deep sweater, and it's just so easy to put on. My total cardigan wears so far, biggest is my Heirloom Quote cardigan, which with 5 wears, and just one down is the Calm Down cardigan. Those are the 2 I love the most. My book club is coming up though. I've already got 3 wears and I finished it when it was hot. So I do not have have not had a ton of occasion to grab it, but I really enjoy wearing it. And then my t-shirts. Okay. So this is the big numbers that came up this quarter. I have my moon set with 11. So not surprising either. I love wearing that. I just think it's so easy to put on. My Avenue tee next with 10 wears. My Skyline after that with 10. None of those are surprising things. 2 V-necks in the front, so that's a good indicator. Salty Air and Color Tip Tee both tied at 8, and then just down from that is my Flower Child and my Stable Tank, also both tied for 6. So those are, you know, the top 7 or whatever things that ones that I've worn, and that's not surprising to me at all that it's those ones. And I mean, like my Alpine Bloom, I think I'm gonna wear a ton next year and even this fall, but like I just finished it, so I mean it's already got 2 wears, so that's pretty good. But yeah, we're going into the cold weather thing, so I think the T numbers will not change a ton, so there we go with our front runners. Okay, let's go to the yarn library. What got added this quarter? I am currently at a total of 353,000 yards available in my yarn library. So this quarter I acquired 10,418 yards. I did not acquire anything in July. I got like 8,500 of that is from Flax. So this sweater yardage is already out, so that's nice. Obviously I didn't use all the yardage, but I broke into all of the skeins for that. That's nice. I got then Woolfolk. That's it. That's the only other acquisition of yarn, which was also free to me. So that's nice. That's a good stat. I feel pretty good about that. And I will say my used yarn, we'll go through this. I also got rid of this past quarter, gifted mostly from the giveaways, and a little bit to friends. I have, you know, taken out of my stash 3280 in yardage, and I knit up this quarter a total of 13,005 yards. So I'm stash negative for the quarter. I did go through my numbers a little bit for the year, and I think I have like 10,000 yards that I've added to the stash net. My number in available yards for the yarn library is kind of more than that, but again, I have acrylic projects I've done this year, which is not stash that I've counted inside of the yarn library. So those numbers are always a little bit skewed. So this maybe is growing a little bit, but the acrylic stash is actually depleting. So yeah, I don't think I'll count my Feral Notions embroidery, even though that I'll use probably somewhere around like 200 or 300 yards of yarn. I'm not going to count that in the yarn tracker because all of it is like acrylic scraps. So that's fine. But let's talk about projects real quick. Started in this quarter, I started in July 6 projects, in August 6 projects, in September 9 projects. That's why I have so many projects on my needles right now. In July, I finished 6 projects. In August, I finished 5 projects. And then September, I only finished 4 projects. So I am, you know, this makes sense that I have projects started that are not done. More on the needles than I did at the end of Q2 at least. Let's do, we don't have to do, we can review like by type end of year. So that's fine. So far this year, I have a total of 55 projects finished. Like I said, I have just over 13,000 yards of yarn used in projects this quarter, and not used for uncompleted, like completed projects. That was the yardage used, which brings me to the total for this year of 46,712 yards used so far this year. Certain things like my book snake is just over 1,500 yards right now, I think, or 1,400 yards. So just because I'm marking that for each book round I use, so I know I'm going to have a good, like probably around, I would say around 1,600 or 1,700 yards to add for that project at the end of the year, but I'm not going to be able to count that until the 31st. But this is incentive for me. Even if I finish a book on the 31st, I'm going to get that done by midnight and finish the little bit of the tail, because there's a little bit of decreases you have to do in the white yarn. So that is done by end of year. Okay, so that's all for stats. That's all I feel like is worth sharing this time around, or is interesting this time around. We'll have a bigger recap, obviously, at the end of the year. But I do want to go over really quick where I am on my Make 9, where I am on my gift Make 9, and where I am on my goals for the year. So Make 9 first. On my Make 9, I've got 7 out of 9 completed. 1 started, which is my Mila cardigan. 1 to go, which is my cow cardigan. That feels great. I feel excellent about that. That's pretty good for the end of September. On my gift Make 9, I've got 6 completed now, ending the quarter with 6 completed, because I did finish the hippopotamus before, like on Saturday, I think. So, and I've got 1 started, so 2 more to go on that. One of them is just a motion friend, which I know I can finish in maximum 3 weeks. So I should be fine with that. That's for Theo. Also, I'll give her something for Christmas. And then another one is a gift knit for a friend. And I may take this one off the list for right now. But and maybe give Theo 2 friends. I don't know. I don't even need to add another. I could just have him make 8. That's okay too. Maybe I'll add her purse on there. Huh, that'd be hilarious. Okay. I think the goals I shared for 2025 is that I would like to finish my make 9 and my gift make 9. So I'm progressing. Those are 2 good things. I would like to do a sweater spin, which I did do. I actually did a sweater spin for Theo for her traveler hoodie, which I will make for her when she's a little bit older. I also did a t-shirt spin, which is this here, and that was fully 16 ounces, and it is a bamboo blend and great for a t-shirt. And I completed a, like, this will go into a sweater, this light color for a pressed flowers pullover. So I feel like I did actually complete that goal. It's more like maybe t-shirt and baby sweater, but that's, hey, I don't really think I specified. And I probably will try to finish like one other sweater spin this year. I'm not sure what it might be this, but this is my LB is also going to be like a partial sweater spin because I'm going to use something else with that. But yeah. I then also want to put a cap on my test knits, which I was doing really good for 3/4 of the year. I did a couple of like quick accessory type knits, test knits in the winter and spring, and then I really didn't do any sweaters, or not many, through the summer, and then it's just fall and everybody's got really good patterns coming out. And so I have stuck to, I'm just testing for people that I really love, Woolfolk included. I think they pick great designers, and so I'm trusting them for this one. And then cross stitch once a week. I've mostly succeeded in that. If we're counting embroidery right now, I'm like killing it. So let's go through one more thing that I will show up on the screen, which is my project possibilities freeform. I might like record myself moving along this because it's quite large, and if I just take screenshots, it'll be really small. So maybe I can zoom in and do this. But you'll see what I would call the pink stars are my like priority projects, things I do want to get on the needles maybe this year, maybe just like some of them I think I want to cast on but not have finished this year, right? So some of them are like towards the end of the year. The cow cardigan's on there, the Mila's on there, my seasons cardigan, which those are all cardigans that are either already on the needles or are definitely going to get finished this year. In my cold weather knits section, I would like to cast on my pressed flowers, but I will say I'm going to prioritize nurtured over that because that is yarn I'd like to get out of my stash. And then I've got a couple of transitional knits that are maybe aspirational, but I definitely think maybe Nightbook will be the next big one I cast on after I get some of these other projects off. Like when the Elton's off my needles, maybe I'll cast that on. I do have a couple of teas I would still like to do. I know I talked about this, having just teas on the needles at all times. I'm not ready right now because I have so many projects, but the next thing I will cast on is probably the marigold tea, if not the fleur tea, and only because then I could kind of knit that with Ariel, who's also making one right now. Both of those are flock purchases that I would like to have done my next flock anyway, so it doesn't really matter which order. Just depends on how I'm feeling. We'll show you then. These are the completed knits that were on the project plan. Some things got changed and switched around. I did throw in a couple of extra like newer things if yarn was on here and the project changed, I did change the picture. So you'll see those in this little section I'm showing now. Now we are going to just show my very sped up color in of my flat lay from this year. For anybody who's like, what was that? I take a picture every January of all of my stash here. This stash, like I said, my acrylic's not in there. Some of my scraps are not in there, but got used up this year, right? Full skeins, mostly full skeins are all pictured. And so I just color in throughout the year. What I'll show you at the end of this year is also, I updated 2024 as well. So some of it is double colors because I had it for both years, but there's quite a lot of new stuff in 2025 as well. So that's like my crazy fun thing to do. Makes me feel good. It also, like, seeing it flat like that rather than just in the wall is very inspiring too. Really makes me like see, like, what do this again, part of the thing that I was picking is like, I don't want to take pictures of that again. I don't want to pull it out again for the flat light in 2026. So we're going to get through that. Just priority, you know what I mean? Okay, otherwise, not a lot to share this week. I would love to know what you've been working on. Oh, one thing to share is, as we've been talking about, there's a lot of really excellent collections out right now. One that I'll probably be placing a small order for, like just one sweater quantity or a tea quantity, is from Witchfire Fibers, because she's got her collection right now. It's called Between the Tides. She said it's going to stay up until like evening time on Friday. So I've not put my order in yet, but I am going to put something in because I've got sample money from her. And also I like really love this collection. She has some really amazing tonals. I'll just pop a picture up of the grid. So I'm split between like one or two of the tonals, which I really love. I might get a sock set, or like for a shawl, like a small amount of Last Harvest as well, which is like kind of like it's inspired by like the Last Blueberry Harvest. It's this color, the swatch she made of this, I was like, oh gosh, it's so good. It's a really pretty, I'll pop that one up too, like just so you can see. It's really pretty. So I'll order something, but not a lot from her, but I would expect I won't get it until like close to the end of the year. So that's good. But she does have another SJM collection coming in November, and I told her I'd do a sample for her, so I expect that yarn to come to me pretty soon to get it done relatively quickly. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to share the colors, so I might have to do a black and white for that. I'll have to look. I don't have the yarn yet, so I will let you know if I can show you. Otherwise, you'll just see black and white progress, which is fine. Yeah, so I have a lot of things going on. Feeling pretty good about where I am in most of my projects. Thankfully, I'm at like an easy part in a couple of them now that I've got a couple joined in the round that I can just knit and knit, which is great because I need to have some of those. But also like at the beginning and, you know, at some other things. So it's where we like to be. I'd love to know what's on your needles. I'm fully into the fall knits now, so I hope you are too. If you have not joined our Unspun Cow, we're just chatting in Discord. There are a couple of people that said, yeah, like let's try our first Unspun thing, and so that's really fun. I think it's one of those things that you have to be a little bit brave. You also just have to go for it. So go for it. And yeah, so I'd love to know what you've been working on, whatever craft it is, let me know, or what's the best thing that's been going on in your world. And I'm so excited to hear all those comments. Come join us on Discord. We do our Whip Wednesdays where people put lots of, people have been showing up for these project posts and they've been really good. Like there have been some really exceptional, like beautiful projects coming up, which I just love so much. Yeah, so excited about that. And I'm excited to continue talking to all of you. I will talk to y'all later. Have a great weekend whenever you're watching this, and I hope that you are stretching, moving around. I'll see you next week.